Woohoo! Did you see it? Did you see it? GDP 4.9%. The world's on fire. Economy is rocking. We are just cranking it.
Yes, we're amazing.
Yes, we are, and everyone is so happy. I mean, they are ecstatic. Let me show you how happy they are. 64% of Americans would welcome recession if it meant lower mortgage rates.
Why people got to do that to me? I feel like I'm the victim in this message.
Yeah, it's your fault.
They're targeting me. Like, no. That's interesting. People are willing they want a little pain if it means a little bit more affordability.
Yeah. Well, I don't understand why. It's not like to afford a median home these days, you got to make 100,000. You got to make 114.
I mean, it's nothing.
Yeah, it's only 50% above what it was in 2020. Yeah.
And what, like 100% of what it was in 2005? I don't know. Like, affordability is not an issue at all.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, we got the number today, this morning, and the market is actually rallying on it. And I don't understand it because Powell, he came out and, here's the number right here is, 4.9%. They only spent $600 billion in deficit spending. It's a huge increase from the 2.1 the previous quarter.
Mm-hmm.
But Powell has said that he wants that to drop.
Yeah.
In order to cut rates, he needs to see this decrease. So that kind of tells me right now we're not going to see any rate cuts pretty soon.
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, probably not.
I'm sitting there and I'm going, this kind of hurts a little. That much. That much. Something like that.
I look at the bond market. Did you think maybe we reacted more to the jobless claims number than we did to the GDP number being hot?
I don't know, but within the past, look at this, within the past few minutes, because this morning we tested that 5% rate again.
Mm-hmm.
We broke it a couple days ago and it pulled back. Back. And then this morning, on the GDP news, it initially was holding pretty steady. And we just lost, 0.04 basis points literally within the past couple minutes.
Yeah.
Did we miss something before the show? Why do they do that? Like right before the show?
Right? They keep us on like the toes. It's Thursday. We need to change the day to like Friday. Like nothing happens on a news dump Friday.
Yeah. Because, consumer, PCE comes out tomorrow. Target on that is like 3.7%.
Yeah.
If that can pull back a little bit, that'd be nice. That's interesting that all of a sudden we had a reversal.
Yeah.
And it'd be interesting when we're done to get off and see what kind of made us drop all of a sudden.
You had durable goods came in hotter than expected, which is expected when GDP goes up, right? That's higher than they're pretty much hand in hand. But then you had the jobless report kind of come in mixed. It was 210 claims for last week, which was higher than 10,000 from the previous week, which was kind of funny because if you remember, the previous week came in way low, but then they revised that one up, but nobody heard about the revisions. And then continuing claims, though, actually increased to 1.79, which was above the estimate of 1.74 million for continuous claims. Like, a lot of mixed information in this morning.
Yeah, it's so hard when you're trying to go through these numbers and they revise them and they shift them all around. But that's quite honestly, it's reflected in the market
Mhm.
because boom, news, and everyone is so on edge,
Yeah.
just reacting because, you know, Powell's going to increase, Powell's not going to increase, Powell's going to increase, Powell's not going to increase. And it's like, okay, guys, everybody just take a deep breath. Been through these cycles before. We'll get through these cycles again. So you're sitting there and you really do. You're trying to absorb the numbers and find out a few things. Because I was looking at the gross domestic product um, news release, and one thing that stood out to me is disposable income. It only increased 1.9%. So people's earnings are still falling behind inflation right now.
Yeah.
And the other thing that stood out is personal savings really dropped by $250 billion to
What is that?
776 this quarter to 104. That's a big drop in savings,
Yeah.
a big drop in savings. And one of the things that fueled the increase was, the summer spending. They
Mhm.
called it the Taylor Swift effect. Everyone following How many did you go to, Joe?
I only followed her for like 6 concerts. Like I took out a second mortgage, cashed out. Like it was fantastic. Like
I knew it. I
RV.
knew
You know,
it.
now I could only afford to get back row nosebleed, but
Yeah, what were they, about 3,000 a piece?
that surge pricing. That surge pricing.
Yeah. So you look at that. So that you look at those numbers, and that's kind of scary. It does explain some of the consumer spending. Instead of
Mhm.
savings, people went out and they spent their money.
Yeah.
Last quarter.
And it's summertime. There's usually a lot of spending
Yep.
summer, winter. Like I feel like spring, fall, little softer, right?
Yep.
But do you almost get a sense that maybe some of the spending was, I always joke like the bars do the best when we're in a recession, right? Like stuff like that. Like, do you
Hmm.
feel like there was a little bit of might not be able to do this next year? I'm going to do it now.
Yes. Yeah. And you can kind of see that in the credit card usage.
Yeah.
Because we're still, I mean, the credit card debt in America, it's not going down. We're
And it won't.
staying well above $1 trillion in credit card debt right
Well, I
now.
mean, they're all at what, 20, 24, 29, 30.
Oh my gosh, yeah, some of
These
them
are
are.
like, it's amazing that these credit card companies can charge what they can and they get away with it. And people don't
Yeah,
have an option, right? Like,
yeah, yeah. It's just it's interesting when you look at this whole pool of everything, and it goes to me. It kind of goes back though that if you take out that extra government spending, that 600 billion in deficit spending that we did, your number drops nearly 2% in
mhm.
your gross domestic product.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a sugar high. Everyone's like, yeah, let me, like you said, let me get it in, let me get it in now, let me get, because I need my fix now, I need my fix now, but you're going to have to pay for it down the road.
Yeah.
And where we're paying for it right now is those higher interest rates
Hmm.
overall. And like we've seen in the market, it's slowing down the market. And I had a conversation with my builder, who we're doing the weekly
Yeah.
updates on his 4 homes.
Which are absolutely awesome. Like if you're not catching those guys, like make sure you're following Brendan's page.
Oh, thank you.
Every which way, great information of that build process and what it takes.
Yeah, thank you. He made a comment that this economy seems to be doing well despite housing, and housing's usually
The
one of
driver.
the main drivers in the U.S. economy. And despite not really doing well right now, the economy, it's moving. It's not, 800, 80 miles an hour, but, you know, 45, 50,
Yeah.
we're making time.
Local roads.
Yeah, there's still some good stuff going on in the economy. Ford actually announced this morning that they and the UAW came to an agreement.
Ooh.
So the employees there are actually going to be getting the biggest pay raise in history in the automotive industry, which again is well deserved because with inflation the past couple of years, they have lost a lot of purchasing power.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope it works out well for them. It's well deserved. But again, that's one of the things that Powell said that he didn't want to see. But how do you not do it as a company? How do you not do it in treating your employees correctly and making sure that they're taken care of and they want to work for you. So it's really a double-edged sword for the economy overall.
That's a tough one, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you want to control your costs, but at the same time, you don't want to be going through employees left and right.
yeah.
And I know you've mentioned it before that we've seemed to have lost that in a lot of corporations in this country.
Yeah.
So I hope they are able to settle it, and I hope that they continue, they do well out of this. Well, let's hop right into our numbers for this week. We actually had a little bit of a uptick in our sales, which was kind of nice to see. We jumped up to 428 for the week, and our inventory again grew by over 100 units. And I think you and I have said that this may not be a bad time as a buyer to look at it if we structure deals properly.
Correct.
And we'll show you why as we get further into the numbers. Condos, same thing, came up just a little bit. Okay. But here's where we're seeing the advantage for the buyers is on average, we're down to just, 94% original list price to sales price. So there is room in there. Maybe the prices aren't pulling back as strong as we thought they would, but they're pulling the final price and the final negotiation. There's a lot of opportunity out there.
Yeah.
Right now.
I mean, you're talking 94.71. That's 5% of wiggle room right there, right?
Yep.
Like there's some opportunity there.
Yep. So you can actually put out an offer this morning where we went 5,000 below and asked for a 3% seller concession this morning. And the agent was on the phone with me last night, asking me questions. It's a home that's roughly $250,000 that's actually been on the market for over 2.5 weeks.
Oh wow! And that's like panic mode now, right?
We saw a $250,000 home stay on the market for 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, you didn't like that was it'd be lucky if it lasted 2.5 hours.
I know. And so you see, we've got that room to where, again, if you approach everything as a team, between your realtor, your lender, and yourself, and you sit down and really analyze the numbers, because this is it's showing us that we've got opportunities to do the buy downs and get the payments down for you. Yeah. And hey, it may be 18 months before we see rates come down to where you can refinance. But if we position you properly, you're not going to feel that pain.
Yeah.
You're not going to feel that pain, and you're going to be able to look at it and go, oh, we actually looked at this and we figured we planned it out right.
Yep.
So there's a lot. I see opportunity. And the other thing that's showing me we've got opportunity is our average days on the market. We've jumped to 47 days. That is continuing to increase.
Yeah. So we're nearing 2 months now. Like we're getting
Yep.
closer and closer to a 2-month average.
To a 2 month out. And the longer they stay on the market, the more ability we have to negotiate. Because you can see, again, our period average, this red line, doesn't stay steady week to week. It actually has been coming down very steadily. And, we're not seeing a ton of home sales.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting. It's like middle of the month and we actually had a little jump.
Yeah.
That's kind of different.
Yeah, definitely different. Like I mean, I noticed it on our front as well. And I think we'll see the end of the month have an uptick as well. But I think what we're seeing and what I'm hearing across the board is pending sales, I think, are way down for November.
Yeah. Pending sales are down. I'm actually getting more inquiries. So I don't know if it's that I'm starting to kind of realize this is where the market is, because when you get that initial shock of those rates taking that jump the way they did, people just kind of like,
Like,
it's
we're gonna wait.
Yeah, we're gonna wait. And now we've had these rates for what, about 2 months, 2.5 months now?
Yep.
Pretty steady. So you may have some buyers now going, okay, I think they're going to stay here. I think this is where the rates are going to be. So I've got to make that choice. Do I buy or do I continue to rent?
Yeah.
And most people, I think, don't want to rent. They don't want to be renters. They want to be homeowners.
And I think it's still like we haven't seen rent pull back. I think in some areas you see rent pull back a little bit, but I think where we're in Central Florida, and so we really haven't seen rent pull back the way that some people might have thought it might. And that's kind of the catalyst there. Is people, there's no thing like if you're kind of like, oh, I'm going to hold off. Maybe I'll keep renting. Maybe I'm not going to. And then you see like, wait a minute, rent's still crazy expensive. Like it's which one am I going to take?
Yeah. And if I'm a couple $100 difference, I'm going to take owning over renting.
Yeah.
It used to be kind of flipped where usually the rent was higher than buying, then it kind of evened out. Now we've done some numbers with people where it might be a couple $100 more, but it's yours.
Yep.
It's your house. You can do whatever you want to it. Do you really want to continue to pay someone else's mortgage? And even if you don't, maybe you only grow 2% equity per year, that's still growth into you, not to someone else.
Yep.
So I think it's more, to me, it's more of an evaluation process than it has been in the past. You really got to look at the numbers overall for everybody.
Yeah.
And then you see right here's our inventory. And we are actually now 11% higher than we were back in January, which again bodes well for the buyers for the first time in a long time. And there's that jump in days on market. And I think that's why we're seeing that percentage of original list to final is dropping consistently.
Yeah.
And our temporarily off market, you're seeing, this is staying pretty steady where people are just saying, you know what, it's been on the market long enough. These higher interest rates, maybe it's just not the time to sell.
Okay.
But it's nice to see that inventory is growing, even though this is staying consistent. Then here you are in the condo area. This, I think last week was sitting at close to 97%.
Yeah.
So we dropped a couple percentage points this past week. And that could be a good reason why we saw a little bit of an uptick in the number of sales. A couple sellers said, you know what, it's not worth it. Let me just, a couple $1,000 here, a couple $1,000 there. I mean, the condos have maybe not made the same gross increase that other people have had in houses, but they've still had very phenomenal increases.
Yeah.
I remember I got the landings over here in Longwood, and I think 2.5 years ago, you could have bought one of those for $50,000.
Were those the same ones that like like in 2012-ish were like 10 grand or 15
Yes.
grand?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. You could actually have got, I think, $10,000 and $12,000 for like a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo.
And they're selling for how much now?
I saw one, I think, for like $183,000.
So 10x your income, 10x your initial investment in a 10-year period. That's
That's not bad, is it?
pretty good. It's pretty good.
Not bad. Not bad at all. So, we saw a little bit of spike, but overall, market's just kind of being steady. I think people are really starting to realize that, hey, this is the market right now, and this is the way the market's going to stay for a little bit. So we've got to make it work somehow.
Yep.
Some way. We're going to need to make it work. And there's solutions out there. There really are.
Yeah.
And it's just, to me, it's us conveying it, us knowing our numbers, and being able to sit down and, hey, let's calculate it this way. Let's calculate it that way. What's the best way to get you into this house right now?
Bingo.
So, all right, everyone. Well, thank you for joining us. We will see you next Thursday again. Thank you, Joe.
Light and easy today. Not much.
No, it was a quiet week, and it was kind of nice.
Kind of nice.
Nothing.
I'd like to see rates do like this, like just a very gradual, slow. Like I'd be happy. I'm kind of annoyed with this whole game. Like it's like dead fish out of water, just flopping around, going uphill. It's not been pretty, but
Yeah, but it's we can breathe for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Literally, it's like, I don't have to sit there and watch to see, is the 10-year T taking a 1/10 of a point jump because I'm going to lose a 1/4 of a point, for my client over here.
Yeah. I have time to lock a loan in when I sell the client. It's great. It's like, okay, I sold you and I can register, get the loan locked. We've got everything. It's not and it's gone.
It's gone. Wait, wait, what? Hold. While you're on the phone with them, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We've had days like that. So,
all right, everyone, please like and subscribe, and we will see you again next Thursday. Take care.
Have a good one, guys.